Hey YouTube, this episode of Friday Fun, I wanted to talk about card grading. And I've been thinking about this lately, especially with the costs of sealed products going up and up and up. The cost of grading has actually not gone up a whole lot. PSA's done a good job of keeping the costs of grading, somewhat under control. I think it's about to go up though because they're getting backed up. But it's interesting. I think this ratio, like sealed products, have been like almost going up by double every year. It seems like since Fanatics took over. But the price of grading, the cost of grading, has been pretty steady. Um, you can grade a Pokemon card for $19, which is more expensive. It's been like down to like 13 to $15 here in this past year, and you can get sports cards graded for $20 if you're a member, and you're just using like the bulk level, and that's been pretty steady, pretty much ever since COVID. So, of course, grading prices pre-COVID were much cheaper, but then PSA, if you remember, got really backed up during the COVID years, and they started raising prices, and they slowly have come down since the end of COVID until now, where they're starting to get backed up again. So I think that's a healthy price right now to get stuff graded. I think you're kind of, the bad thing is the sealed wax and sealed box prices are so high that it kind of forces people into grading some stuff, but at least the grading costs aren't crazy. So guys, what do you think? Do you think grading cards is a decent value, or do you think it's all a waste of money? I know there's a lot of people that think any type of grading is a waste of money, but it really isn't, because you can definitely increase the value of your card by getting it graded. And there's a lot of cards that I have, like this Entei EX, for instance. This is a card I'm never going to sell, but I wanted to protect it, and why not go ahead and get it graded? And it actually got a really good grade, this PSA 9. But raw, this card will sell for, I'm just going to be hypothetical here. Let's say this card sells for like $75 raw. In a PSA 9, this card probably sells for $250, $300. As a PSA 10, it's probably over $1,000. So yes, you can really greatly increase the value of your cards by grading, especially if it's like a rare card. And another thing I've noticed about grading lately is that there was a time, maybe 3 years ago, that it made sense to grade a lot of base cards, like of superstars, like GOATs. And I definitely did some of that. But, as the number of the pops of graded cards really started going up, it became less beneficial for people to grade base cards, to where I think the market has overreacted to that in the long term, where now it's really hard to find like base cards that are graded. And when you have a lot of demand out there for graded cards, yes, you also have to think there is a great market for entry level people buying graded cards. Someone just getting into buying graded cards to invest in or to collect, they are not going to want to buy the biggest, highest end, like low serial numbered, expensive cards right away. They're going to want cards that are affordable, and they really probably don't care that much about a pop report. So, like, for instance, let's say you have a PSA 10. Trying to think of a good rookie this year or last year. A PSA 10. Paul Skeens, Topps Chrome. The numbered cards of Paul Skeens rookie cards in a PSA 10 are probably well over $400 or $500, but you can get a Paul Skeens base rookie card for probably around $50 to $60. And that card is actually not going to be super high pop because a lot of people have steered away from grading base cards and only wanting to grade parallels and stuff like that. And this is another thing that to keep an eye on in the years to come. There are so many parallels that parallels are kind of losing their luster. You know, when you have, like, I think Topps this year, or either last year or this year, literally had like 75 to 80 parallels of a certain card, of just like a typical card. You know, with all the different, like, you have Superfractor, you have Black Wave, Black Mojo. You know, it gets very out of hand. And Panini also, tons of different parallels of stuff to where, you know, are the base cards all that much more rare than a parallel card? They are more common, but in the world of cards that are being graded, there's probably a small stack of base cards being graded compared to, like, if you added up all the other parallels. And some of these parallels, people are not going to be that into those. I think people always like the main parallels, like the golds, the true golds, true blue, true orange, true red. You know, like these are Topps colors. And they probably won't be that excited about purple shimmers and purple mojos and, you know, all these offshoots of the different color parallels. But all that being said, there is going to be a market, I think, for base graded cards because people have gone kind of so against base cards where they've overcorrected. Where now it kind of makes sense to grade base cards. You look at sold prices, and base cards are selling for pretty good prices. And in my mind, they've crossed the threshold of being worth grading. The only problem is that card quality is kind of struggling. That might be part of the reason those PSA 10 base cards are selling for a lot, because it's really hard to get PSA 10s. But there has to be entry levels of the market to all customers, whether they're big whales with tons of money or they're just smaller time collectors getting started off and want to just have, you know, a Paul Skeens or Wyatt Langford rookie card in their collection and don't want to spend a lot of money. So basically what I'm trying to say in this video is I think grading is a good value right now, and I think it should be taken advantage of. I mean, there's not too many things right now that are like fairly priced in the hobby, but one thing I do think is priced fairly is grading cards. And you can look at the statistics over and over. If you can get some PSA 10s, you are going to make some really good money. And making money is tough to do in today's hobby. You know, because seriously, buying a box of cards nowadays is expensive. It's getting to the point where there's several products that I used to buy every year I can't touch now. They're just too expensive. You look at all the different Sapphire things that come out. When they first started doing Sapphire, they were attainable. Now, you know, a box of Sapphire Bowman or a box of Sapphire Topps Chrome, you're talking about $700-800 for some of that stuff. Maybe not on release day, but easily $500 to $600 to $700 the entry level price on, simple box of Sapphire. Crazy prices. You look at Star Wars Masterwork. This was, you could get boxes of hobby boxes of Star Wars Masterwork for less than $200 for a long time. And then in 2020, I think that was the first time I remember it being over 200, and then it slowly climbed till now. If you weren't able to get it directly from Topps, it's going to cost you like $650 to buy a hobby box of Masterwork. That's crazy. The hobby is just nuts right now with the costs. So when you think about all that and think that card grading really has not gone up very much in the past, 2 or 3 years, it's a good way to add some value to your collection, and the price of grading has not gone crazy like the price of wax. So what do you guys think? If you are into grading, do you think it's a good idea to grade stuff right now? I kind of use grading sometimes as a way to help pay for some of this expensive stuff. Like Allen Ginter, it seems like Allen Ginter cards sell well graded. They're easy to grade, and it has helped me cope with even just like Allen Ginter prices getting a little bit more expensive each year, knowing that, hey, I have a good chance of getting some rookie cards, get those graded. That's going to help pay for my box. I, of course, still collect graded cards in my collection. There's, that's everything in the world of graded cards is about, getting the most value out of your cards. Whether it's vintage cards, new cards, or whatever, it's the way to go if you want to maximize the value of your cards. And then you have to, of course, sit down and pick which grading company you want to use. I like to use PSA, but 5 years from now, PSA might not be the company to use, But for me right now, PSA is king. And I know BGS for a long time was king, and then they let everybody else kind of pass them up. But even doesn't matter which company you use, you're probably, unless you're using one of these little bitty companies, you're going to add value to your cards through grading. And thankfully, the card grading companies are fighting it out. That's probably the big reason why card grading has not gotten crazy out of control cost, because there's competition. But with Fanatics kind of like owning the market, and they're going to own it more and more in the next couple of years. Look at the costs of boxes. It's gone insane, crazy expensive. So we should be glad there's different grading companies that fight it out and keep these grading costs low. Anyway, I'm rambling. Thank you for watching. Have fun out there. That's the number one thing in the hobby. Do the hobby. Have fun. That's the goal of all of this, is to have fun. Stay tuned for more videos. Later. Camera is really